I know you're thinking, hey, you got kicked off yesterday for about 5 minutes. And then I appealed it and I said, hey, guys, come on, a little common sense here. And they said, oh, common sense. Okay, you can go back on. That's how it works. That's how it works on TikTok. Oh, Jesus. Now, the question is, why can't you save your live streams on TikTok? Why can I do it on YouTube, but I can't do it on TikTok? I think it's because with TikTok, they don't want you to remember what you said. Just in case you go back and you're like, yeah, that's what I thought. We are getting screwed. All right. For those of you just joining, you haven't missed anything yet. Not yet. All right, let's take a look here. Machiavelli. Interesting. Good name. That means he can go faster than the speed of sound. That's why they called him Machiavelli. He's fast. Where are we at here? Silver is down a whopping 0.8%. Hello, Sal. Yeah, so just another boring day in silver. It'll stay boring. I mean, over the last year, 12 months, it's gone up 143.6%. Not exactly boring. Have we found little green men on the dark side of the moon yet? No, they are actually in Ohio. Is it Ohio? Iowa? The same shit to me. Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. That's where we keep the little green dudes. That in Utah. Because, as you know, Mormons don't tell secrets. They keep secrets. Better than anybody else, actually. Which is why the number one recruiting station for the CIA is Brigham Young University. Why do I know that? Because my dad worked for the CIA. He didn't tell me that. Actually, while he was alive, he didn't tell me anything about the CIA. He lied through his fucking teeth to me. I guess I forgive him for that. I mean, after all, it's not something you're supposed to advertise. Although it would have been nice. It would have explained a lot of weird shit in my life. But what do you do? All right, so gold is at 4,600. Oh, yeah, they only kicked me off for about 20 minutes. And they kicked me off for saying something about Japan and their preferences as far as who gets to live there or stay there or become a citizen. And when they kicked me off, I appealed it and I said, hey, I'm not the one who just passed a bunch of laws last month banning certain types of religions. They did, and they are the first ones to admit that there are certain races they don't like. And TikTok said, oh, right, yeah, of course. Go ahead, go back on. So remember, whenever you're in doubt, censor somebody, just in case. Because you just never know. So always censor first and then do your homework later. That's kind of like shoot first and then yell halt. Eight glasses a day. I'm kidding. There's no way. I wouldn't be able to do a live stream. Did you ever tell us about why silver is not going to go above 150? I didn't get it. Oh, yes, I can tell you now. It's because of this completely inane, stupid, worthless, pointless war. That's why. Because the president of the United States, who I am now convinced has lost his mind, and no, I'm not a Democrat. No, I didn't vote for Kamala Harris. I just, look, I've been married twice. I know crazy when I see it. I've learned. So, about crypto, silver to gold, share your thoughts. AI is helping me out. It's wrong, but it's helping me. Thank you, AI. Um, the reason is when you shut down the world's economy, you shut down trade, because what is an economy? There's only two things in an economy. I'm going to make econ really simple for you guys who are from California and were smoking the wacky weed, that devil's lettuce, when you should have been studying econ in high school. Goods and services. That's it. You can make it as much complicated as you want. Just keep adding zeros and factors and whatnot, but it's just goods and services. So as long as you have goods, then you have manufacturing. And if you have services, that means that you do things for people. So awesome. Now, our manufacturing sector has not only gone away, but it will never come back. I don't care what anybody says. That's bullshit. Manufacturing is now going to be done by robots, period. It's being done by robots now quite effectively. Service is a little bit different deal. And the reason I say service is different is because it's hard, if you have an HVAC problem, to send a robot onto a roof to go fix HVAC. They might be able to diagnose it through some electrical, panel that sends out signals now or something interesting, but they can't fix it. So the service industry, which, by the way, COVID cut by 60%, 60%. That's how much of the service industry we lost during COVID. The service industry made up 40% of our economy to begin with. And then we lost 60% of that. And so when people talk about, what happened to the United States of America, when did it all go wrong? 1913, really, but 1971, really, 2000, 2008. There's a few other times, but that COVID was definitely one of those times. This time we can't recover from this. And to be quite frank with you, I'm beginning to suspect that we're not supposed to. So that bothers me. That bothers me a lot. Because if I can figure out where we're heading, I know that the Government Accounting Office, the GAO, can. If I can figure out where we're going, I know that all of the lawyers and the attorneys and accountants that run this country in the form of senators and congressmen, I know they can figure it out. I know that all of the people that are at all of the universities around the country, thousands of universities, thousands of professors with thousands of degrees, meaning each one has thousands of hours of studying econ, which means altogether we may have maybe 1 billion hours of econ experience in this country collectively. There's no such thing as a social credit score yet. There is, however, a social credit score in China. And people see their social credit score, they actually have it on their phones. They can show you their credit score. By the way, these peppers, these are jalapenos. This is what they're supposed to look like. They're not supposed to be green. I grew those. The very first picture I took with my new iPhone, I was like, man, this camera is cool. So anyway, enough about me. Let's talk about my opinion. The central bank digital currency, which, by the way, is going through the Senate and the Congress right now as part of the Housing Act. Housing Act? What the fuck is it? What does this have to do with a Housing Act? Nothing. Nothing whatsoever. But you know how Congress and Senate are. They love to slip it in when you're not looking. Yep, that's the way they do it. They just grease up those bills and they slip them right in there. So now we're in this situation where we've got a central bank digital currency. But A central bank digital currency can be done one of two ways: directly through the central bank, which is what everybody, misinformation. Oh boy. Okay, so I just got two warnings. Number one, I'm making some people feel uncomfortable. And number two, I'm giving out misinformation. Okay, I'm not sure what the misinformation is because I'm just quoting the housing bill. But basically, what they're saying is they're saying, look, because Trump said no CBDC. What's his name down in Florida? Governor said no CBDC. DeSantis. Now everybody's saying no CBDC, but the key is, there you go. Here's the key. When they say no CBDC, they're saying no retail CBDC. Well, what does that mean? That means that I am the central bank. I make up the digital currency, and then I just give it to you directly. I put it into your account. I take it out of your account. Put one foot in, take one foot out. And pretty soon you're doing the cha-cha-cha. But, well, that's the thing. Unfortunately, in this day and age, they actually decide what's misinformation. And if they don't like what you're saying, it could be misinformation. So there's a different kind of CBDC, though. It's not retail. It's called a wholesale CBDC. Well, what does that mean? Well, that means that the big banks get to keep their foot up your backside. Yeah. And the way they do that is the central bank creates the digital currency and then it gives it to them and they give it to you. So they get to stay in the same place they're in right now, which is destroying our economy and creating inflation and making up money out of thin air by making loans on money that they don't actually have. So you give them $100, they have to keep between $7 and $10. The rest they can loan out. Well, wait a minute, but it still says on your balance sheet that you have $100. Right. How does that happen? Well, we just created money. Your bank created money? B of A just did it? Like Wells Fargo? Yeah. They're the ones who create most of the money in the world. Okay, but I don't want a CBDC. I don't want digital currency. Well, unfortunately, we slept on it. Right now, the amount of currency in the world, American dollars, these little bad boys right here, the amount of these that are actual in cash is about 3%. 97% of our currency right now is digital already. So what's the difference? Just study every country that challenged the central bank. Oh, that always gets ugly. You don't want to do that. The only two presidents that said that they were going to break up the central bank, other than Andrew Jackson and I believe Harrison too, both of which had attempts on their life, were Lincoln and Kennedy. They were going to break up the central bank as well. Didn't work out too well for them, but So here's the point. We've got these things right now. Only 3% of these are in real life. The rest of them, the other 97%, it's digital anyway. You're using your card all the time. Well, what is your card? It may as well be a CBDC. The only difference is the way that they're setting up the CBD system is they're setting it up so that they can monitor every single thing that you buy, every single thing that you spend money on. They will be able to watch your account and link it to everything else that you do in your life. There will be no more any kind, like even a little bit of anonymity. Everything will be public. It's not what we voted for. It's not what we wanted, but because of how sort of laissez-faire our attitude is towards the government, that's what we get. Look at France. Now, do I think that France is a perfect place? No, I don't think so. They have some real problems. Mostly with with people coming into the country that hate the country. So that's their biggest problem is immigration. Other than that, um, the people of France, when they don't like something the government has done, man, it is on like Donkey Kong. They are in the streets protesting. And, that's the thing is that you got to be able to do that. A democracy is hard, you know, and we haven't learned how to have one properly. What we've done initially when the country first started, there were things like the Whiskey Rebellion and these tax stamp issues where the government would say, hey, we're going to tax this. And the locals would say, really? Over my dead body, once you get past my shotgun. And the government would go, okay, hold on, slow down. We're not going to tax that. We'll tax this other thing. And because of the fact that they got pushback from the people of the country, there were a lot of things that they didn't do. You have to understand their job is to restrain us. That's what a government does. It restrains people from doing bad things. It doesn't restrain us from doing good things. That's literally what Thomas Paine wrote about in Common Sense. That a society comes together to do good shit. A government is instituted among people to keep them from doing bad shit. You see the problem there? You have founded the nation on a negative. What is the government supposed to do? Restrain. Well, why? That's its only job, is to restrain. Why is it restrained? To protect. That's it. But, okay, how does it protect us? Well, first of all, you're going to have to pay it. It can't do it by itself. I mean, these are American citizens that have chosen to protect other American citizens. To ask them to starve or not feed their family is stupid. Of course, we're going to have to pay them. Okay, cool. Well, now, what about how do we protect ourselves from other nations? Well, we're going to need more people. Okay, we're going to have to pay them. All right. Well, how are we going to do that? Well, we can tariff other countries that want to sell stuff to our country. Well, how's that work? Hey, look, if you want to sell 400 tons of tea a year and make yourself $200 million a year, you got to pay us 20. Huh. All right. Well, that sounds fair. Well, the other countries do it to us. All right, so we'll do it to them. Cool, done. All right, we're good. And for well over 100 years, that's what we did. And then somebody said, hey, but what if we tax the people too? It's like, wait a minute. You're telling me that we can tax the citizens? Well, I mean, we've tried in the past and they went crazy. Okay, but what's going to be different this time? Well, we're becoming more successful, more sort of sedate. We got a lot more city slickers, a lot less country folk. Gentlemen don't carry weapons on them anymore. I mean, it's, we're more modern. Okay, so what does that mean? Well, that means that we need to now tell them what to do. And if they don't do it, we'll throw them in jail. What? Yeah, we'll throw them in jail. You can't do that. They'll fight like hell. Not anymore. They would have back in the frontier days. But now we'll tell them it's for the good of the country. We'll play upon their patriotism. Oh, and by the way, we'll tell them it's temporary and it's only 1%. Temporary and 1%. We could probably get away with that. Well, yeah, if we tell them it's to keep them safe. All right, well, let's try it. You guys should look up the whole thing about the income tax and whether or not it was ever actually ratified. And it's a rabbit hole that once you go down, you will buy gold and silver. No, as a matter of fact, that's what we're going to see. Is we should see as the dollar goes down. See, the problem is the dollar's getting stronger right now because everybody's running to it, because at this point it's like it sucks, but it's better than a lot of others. So you have to understand there are hundreds, well, not hundreds, there's hundreds of billions and perhaps even a few trillion dollars floating around the world at any given time looking for a home. A very, very, very wealthy friend of mine once told me, he said, if you can prove any of the shit you're talking about, he said, not only do I have bags full of money, but there are guys they're just dragging bags of money around behind them all over Beverly Hills here. And he said the reason they're dragging those bags of money behind them is because they can't find enough places to put all the money they have. Can't put it all in one place. You got to spread it out, but it's hard to find good investments, good solid investments. He said, man, you show these guys 20% annually, you'll literally have billions of dollars dumped in your lap. And I said, all right, Dan, well, I'm okay with that. Turns out that's a whole other level. And that's a whole other level that consumes your life. If you want to make hundreds of millions of dollars a year, it's really not that hard. But it's all you'll do. You will not have a family. You will not have loved ones. You have to dedicate yourself to one thing and one thing only. And that's why when you look at these, I mean, hopefully if you're middle class, upper middle class, if you're poor and you've just been hanging around the right places, you've seen what extreme wealth looks like. And extreme wealth is very, very strange. And by the way, it's not happy. I've never seen it happy. Let's see. All are pegged to the dollar. I'm just looking through here. Let's see. I'm just looking. There's a lot of times I don't see comments. So found you. Good. I'm glad you found me, man. Okay. I'll be quiet now. Well, you don't have to be quiet. I do not want listeners to be quiet. I want them to jump in with both feet. That's what we're here for. We're here to get smarter and make more money. But again, there's it depends on what you're willing to sacrifice. Like, what is the money worth to you? Is it worth more than having a happy family? Is it worth more than your health? Is it worth your soul? Because if it is, it's not that hard to be a billionaire. It just takes a ruthlessness and I'm going to say probably if your IQ's in about 110, like not super genius. If you're a super genius, you'll probably never be rich. And the reason is you think too much. I've seen a lot of people who were physicists who not going to do it. Found trading tool over my life. Okay. And do not be afraid to sell. No, you have to know when to sell. Knowing when to buy is only half the solution. Well, that's the problem. Is it, controlling its value. In order to control its value, you have to control the people who make it. And we're not the central bank that's in control right now is the greatest Ponzi scheme that's ever been conceived in history. That's why I'm in the silver business. I'm not playing that game. Look, that's real money. See that? It's got the Queen's face on it. That's real money. Anything that's not this is not real money. This is not real money. One of these is real money, and it's worth $7. The other one is not. It's worth 10 cents. One of these will be worth $8 next year. The other will be worth 8 cents. See a difference? The real money is going up because it's got silver in it. The fake money is made out of zinc and copper, and it's going down in value, and it will continue to do so. That's it. That's what it look. If you had, oh, is that, oh shit, that's only a nickel. Well, a nickel is, at least a nickel is made out of nickel. And I'm fairly certain that even today they still make nickels out of nickel. Now, what is that worth? It is what it is. But yeah, gold and silver are actual money. And here's the thing. These, like one of these, I've got, I should mention, I have 20 Morgans and 20 peace dollars right now. And I have a very good price on them. So if you love Morgans or love peace dollars, give me a call. You can have 20 of each or 20 of both. That didn't sound right. Anyway, whatever. And I also have a few silver rounds at spot. So yes, I said at spot. Now you're thinking, well, so what? At spot, what the hell does that mean? Well, APMEX is charging $9 over spot right now. Yeah. See, the problem is we're still in a situation where we are really, really, really running out of fucking silver. Now, will that affect the price the way that it would have, say, January of this year? No. Why? Because some fucking idiot got us involved in a war that's going to completely shut down the world's economy. Well, if the world's economy is shut down, that means that China doesn't need silver as much as it did. It means we don't need silver as much as we did. Is there still a shortage? Yes. Is the amount that we'll be using still greater than the amount that we'll be producing? Yes. Will the world run out of it by March? Clearly not, because we have shut down the world's economy. It's the dumbest thing I've ever seen. But you know what? It is what it is. This is what happens when you put dumbasses in charge. What's happening there, Moon Monster? So we've effectively destroyed the world's economy. Now, why? Ask a bunch of people, and you'll come up with a bunch of different answers. They killed too many of their own people. And by the way, I heard that it was 3,000, and then it jumped to 30,000, and then it jumped to 40,000, and today Trump said it was 45,000. This is what they've killed in the past. This is not going up because it's going up right now. This is going up because the numbers just keep increasing as far as like how many people they killed. It's to the point now where I get it. I get the misinformation. I get the fact that in a war, the first casualty is always truth. I understand that. I understand that we're trying to blow sunshine up our own asses to make this okay. But the idea that they killed 45,000 people, wow. Get this. No, not at all. By the way, this is really strange. I mentioned gold and silver. I just got a restriction. People can't see my live stream now because I mentioned that I sell gold and silver. Boom. Just like that. Can't talk about it. So if you guys want some, call me. But otherwise, what do you do? They're literally shutting down the live stream so that nobody can see it. If you're on here, good. If you're not on here, you're not going to be on here because you can't see my live stream right now. It's invisible. That is absolutely fantastic. You got to love it. Well, there's the thing is, if I were to talk about the live and I were to tell you to go live and do all that stuff, then I'd be totally fine. because that's something that they're promoting right now. They'll pay me like $100 a day to just talk about live streams because I got 120,000 followers. So if I just wanted to, sell out and totally make you guys listen to a bunch of bullshit, then, whatever. But I don't want to do that. So don't talk about Polymarket. I don't think I've ever brought up Polymarket, although I did sign up for it. I think that based on how often I'm right when other people are wrong, I could probably make a lot of money on Polymarket. I get that impression because there was a guy who made $2.5 million, something like that, or $22 million, I forget. And it was because he he said that JD Vance would be vice president. Restart the live. That's a really interesting idea. Yeah, he said that JD Vance would be president when it was like 2% chances. Interesting. So if I restart the Polymarket, it's where you can bet on anything. You can bet on anything. Let's say that I feel like there's going to be 75% only. Oh my God, you're kidding me! 75% copper and only 25% nickel. See, you restart the algorithm. That's true. All right. Well, let's do that. I will see you guys in 3 minutes. Okay, 30 seconds, whatever. It's not letting me shut off. Are you kidding me? Really? Uh-huh. That's so crazy. I'm hitting the shut off button and it's not shutting off. How in the world? That's hilarious. It won't let me shut the fucking live stream off. It's like, nope, you're not shutting this off, motherfucker. We know what you're up to. Oh, it's fucking great. You're going to do this live stream until you die or we boot you off. Okay. I am literally pushing the button over and over and over again. And it's saying nothing. Wow. That's crazy. How in the hell am I supposed to log off if the power button doesn't work? That's okay. Now, wait a minute. There's got to be a different way. Like, where's the back door to this thing? Let's see. Comment about me, campaigns, pause the live. No, I don't want to pause the live. Flip camera, mirror your video. Let's see, remove background noise. Wow. I didn't know there was, well, once in a while with dogs, but okay, let's try this again. That's fucking nuts. Do you have to hold it? I don't know. I'm pushing the power button and it's bringing up a bunch of people that are watching. It's showing me all the people that are on here watching. Okay, that's not working. All right. No, that didn't work. There. Wow.
If a woman has a small circle or no friends at all,
Oh, Lord. Gotta love that, man. Okay, so I fixed it. Oh, my God. All right. We're back with no restrictions yet. Bleach. The reason I have bleach, by the way, is to show you folks that bleach is a really good thing to have laying around. It is a very, very good thing. It's 8 drops per gallon, and let me. I love the smell of bleach. Now, why do I love the smell of bleach? Good question. I'm glad I asked you, me. The reason I love the smell of bleach is because when I was a kid, I was a swimmer all up through high school. And then in the Marine Corps, we use a ton of bleach in everything that we do. So our towels smell like bleach, our skivvies smell like, everything smells like bleach. The left and the right serve the same king. That's true. That is absolutely true. And by the way, the whole thing about the preemptive war, you're not allowed to do that if you're a Christian. Period. The whole thing about the F word on Easter morning and making fun of their religion by saying "Praise be Allah," really bad idea. You are literally turning this into a holy war. And by the way, when you say to one of the most powerful men in the Middle East, who is Mohammed bin Salman, the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, when you joke about him kissing your ass, and then just a few days later you make a joke about "Praise be Allah," we're going to bomb the hell out of you, and the fuck are you thinking, and all these things on Easter, then you are literally begging for to make this into a holy war. You are literally making fun of an entire nation's religious beliefs. The one that you're bombing the crap out of right now, by the way. On top of that, there are 1 million plus Christians living in Iran peacefully without being harassed. Well, guys, I don't think we could do this any more poorly. I cannot believe that the President of the United States sent that tweet, that Truth Social, whatever, however you want it, whatever you call it. You know, well, it's a funny thing, Moon Monster. Now they're starting to talk about the fact that it doesn't take hundreds of people to go in and rescue an airman. And so it looks like that may have actually been a failed attempt to snatch the enriched uranium. And if that's the case, I get why they don't tell us. I get why, look, war is war. Propaganda is propaganda. There's a reason that every country uses it. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with using propaganda to pump your own guys up. On the other hand, we've never been in a position where we've had so little access to information. And the problem with that is that it's not a restriction of access to information. It's a restriction that we've put on our own information, but without the consent or agreement of Russia and China, who also have really good spy satellites. So when they say, "Oh, there's no damage," they didn't even hit that base What are you talking about? It's minor. Yeah, they actually hit. They killed a couple of ground squirrels 2 miles outside the base, and then all of a sudden the Russians and the Chinese go, "This is just too damn delicious," and they come out with their Landsat photographs, and they go, "Oh, really? Where are your radomes?" Oh, oh, that base. Well, yeah, that one was. That's not that important. Oh, really? That one's not that important, huh? Okay, whatever. That's the problem. That's the problem that we're having is that the CIA likes to call this blowback. Call it chickens coming home to roost. What goes around comes around. We've spent, and let me put it to you this way, we've wasted over $200 billion on Ukraine. Wasted. Pissed it away. Zelensky says he doesn't know where some of it went because he never saw it. Okay. So he never saw it. Where'd it go? Who cares? It's gone. If you ask Lindsey Graham, he'll say, and he did say, that it's the best money we've ever spent. It's only 2% of our total budget, but it's going directly to killing Russians, and we don't even have boots on the ground. Ha 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 ha. He laughed and laughed and laughed. Who was he sitting with when he said that? Vladimir Zelensky. He was laughing about the fact that we get to spend money and kill Russians. What exactly do you think is going through the minds of 275 million Russians right now? I'm going to say that it's probably, oh, really? You attacked our neighbor Iran? Well, we're not going to help them too much, maybe just a little. Do you think that all of Russia's resources are going to the Ukrainian war? Virtually none of them are going to Ukraine. They have a massive military. And right now they've got this line across Donbass, and every time the Ukrainians throw themselves against it, they get slaughtered. That's it. So how many Russians are dying every day? I don't know the answer to that. But I can tell you this, there's more Ukrainians going than Russians, and the Ukrainians are down to recruiting people that are in their 60s. 60s. That, folks, means they are absolutely to the very, very, very end. That's it. They got nobody else to recruit. And so now Russia can turn its attention towards helping its neighbor, Iran. Well, who else would want to do that? Well, I don't know. We've been talking about how we're going to whoop China's ass if they try to take over Taiwan. We're just going to whoop their ass. Ass whooping. That's our number one threat in the world is China. China, China, China. Okay, well, guess what? How do you think China feels about this right now? They're literally going, oh, we get to degrade the American military and we don't even have to fight them? Like, we don't even have to go head to head with these fuckers, and we can help totally destroy their military. Well, destroy their military? What does that mean? Well, number one, recruitment. Who wants to join the military right now? Nobody. There's nobody in the United States running to the recruiter's office saying, man, get me some of them Iranians. No. Why would we? Like, who wants to go in and kill Iranians right now? Nobody with any common sense. Well, they're 2 weeks away from a bomb. Well, how 2 weeks away? How 2 weeks away are they? They're really super 2 weeks away. Are they more 2 weeks away than they were 2 weeks ago? Oh, yeah, they've doubled down. They're way less 2 weeks than they were 2 weeks ago. Okay, but what about in 1996? Oh, no, they're way closer. They're way 2 weeks closer than they were 2 weeks back in 96. I mean, fuck. How fucking stupid can Americans get? No, this time they're two. No, I said no. Before I said do. Wait, isn't that French for two? Whatever. Fucking don't play that commie shit with me, man. They got a bomb. No, they don't. They're gonna have a bomb. No, they won't. Yeah, they will. Just ask my CIA. Okay, fuck the CIA. They don't know what they're talking about. What? Wait, what? No. I meant ask the NSA. Yeah, no, don't ask them. Ask the NRO. The NRO knows everything about that's the National Reconnaissance Office. The NSA's here and the CIA's here and the NRO's like here. So ask them. Okay, what's that? They have no intention of building a bomb? Fuck. All right, forget it. There's no reason to go in. Oh, wait, no. They killed 3,000 protesters. 30,000, 40,000. Wait, hold on. As of today, Donald Trump says they've killed 45,000, maybe much more. 45,000 protesters. That's how many they killed. That's why we went in. We're going to freedom the fuck out of those motherfuckers. You want freedom? Not a problem. I'm dropping a bomb on your ass. By the way, did you hear what Trump said today? And I swear to God, if I'd been eating lead-based paint chips, literally every Super Bowl since I was born, just dipping them right in a fucking guacamole and eating them straight, I couldn't come up with a dumber thing to say than this. This is among stupid things to say. This is the ultimate, penultimate, quintessential. We have reached apogee of stupid. Trump said today that the people who were getting bombed with bombs dropping right next to their houses, as soon as we stopped dropping bombs next to their houses, they said to us, please come back and bomb some more. There's no fucking way that that's a true statement. There's no way. There's no way. And for those of you who say, well, they hate us, do you know any Iranians? Do you personally work with any Persians? After I got out of the Marine Corps, after I wanted to join the Marine Corps so that I could hunt them, then, strangely enough, as life has a way of doing, call it God, call it karma, call it whatever, I started an ATM business back in 1997 with two Persian guys. Yeah, Iranians. What did I think of them? Let's see. They were funny as shit. They were really well educated, super cool guys. One of them was gay, which is really funny because, I mean, to me it was funny. To him, it was a bitch growing up in Iran and being gay because you couldn't tell anybody that or you'd be killed. But we joked about it. He had a great sense of humor about it. And they were really smart guys. And they helped me a lot build the business. We made $1 million business almost overnight because of their business knowledge, not because of mine. I was just all horsepower. I was the guy who sold everything. I was the guy who could go out and get contracts. I could talk to people. I especially was really good dealing with Muslims. I would go into gas stations. I know this is so stereotypical, but it's true. I would go into convenience stores, and the guy behind the counter, Mohammed, would be there. And, you know, these guys, they don't screw around when it comes to negotiation. They love to negotiate. They love to do this. They'll do this shit all day long. Give them a big fucking bowl of pistachios and they'll just sit there and crack those fuckers and negotiate with you until you literally just want to give them whatever it was. No, just take it. It's yours. No, nope, you have to pay me to take it now. It's hilarious. But it's a thing. It's a point of pride for them. It's a point of pride for them. Where I grew up, how much beer you could drink was cool. With them, it's how well can you negotiate on everything. So the bottom line is I'd go in and talk to these guys. I found out that Muslims, they have a crack in their armor when it comes to dealing with these guys from the standpoint of business negotiations. They are hard as a diamond until you make them laugh. Once you make them laugh, once you get them laughing, it's like the armor just cracks. And then it's like, oh shit, he got me. And then you can negotiate a great deal with them. But you got to make them laugh first. If you can't make them laugh, fuck it, you're done. They're going to kill you financially. But that's the thing. It was fun. Oh, trust me, Trump's the worst negotiator in the world. Everybody, oh, he's such a great negotiator. Yeah, that's why he went bankrupt 5 times. He's great at negotiating with bankruptcy courts. But clearly, this shows what an absolute complete breakdown. There's no one in our cabinet. There's no one in our government that has the slightest concept of what statesmanship looks like. I never, ever, ever in my wildest imagination thought that I would say, God, I wish Bill Clinton were here. Yeah, he may be all those things that everybody accuses him of, and I think they might be right. But guess what? That's a guy who would go over there and negotiate. Now, whether or not somebody from a little tiny country in the Middle East would step in and override him, I don't know. But I know that Jared Kushner is absolutely the bad guy in all of this. He is the bad guy. There is no, trust me, they did not want Hillary. They did not want Hillary either, because they know Hillary's one of those. I mean, that's a hard woman right there. There is zero estrogen left in that unit. She is hard, and yeah, she's one of those that's like what she did in Benghazi. Benghazi was absolutely. As soon as I saw what happened, I was like, "Yep, I get it." Do I agree with it? No, I was in the Marine Corps. Of course not. You don't leave men behind. Did I understand what she was doing? 100%. Her point was, we're not going to lose more guys trying to save the few that are there. Better to lose a few, call them heroes. It's like that old Marine Corps hymn that we would sing when we were running. Pin a medal upon my chest, tell my mama I did my best. Yeah, that's exactly what the calculation was there. Fuck them. And that's the thing. It was brutal. That was a brutal calculation. And from the standpoint of a woman being able to make absolutely cutthroat, leave them, we're not losing any more people over this. What's done is done. That's it. Whoa. There are a lot of men out there who would look at that and go, no way. Now, of course, they didn't want anybody to know that, so they came up with all these bullshit excuses and all these reasons and how miscommunication here and miscommunication there. That's not what happened. What happened was Hillary Clinton looked at the situation and said, no, we're not risking any more people. Fighters? No. We're not sending air in there. We're not sending shit in there. Not right now. Until we know what's going on, hands off. Look, 15, 20, 30, 60 people, it beats the shit out of 150 more. And that is literally what happened. Now, is that cold? Yeah. Is that calculating? You bet. Hey, you want to play war games, That's one of the oldest things in war games. You're pinned down. Your whole unit's pinned down. You got maybe a squad of guys. and they're getting picked off one by one. You can't figure out why, because this sniper seems to be able to know where you're at without you being able to see how he can target you. And then you realize that that little girl standing in the middle of the square is talking on a cell phone, and she's looking at the guys that are getting taken out, and then she's looking up at a clock tower. Oh, well, guess what? She's the reason. So what do? Pretty obvious, right? That's the hard part. That's the part that the War College doesn't want to talk about. And that's the part that if you're that guy who realizes that and does what's necessary, you're never going to be the same. You will probably never recover from that. And one of the greatest stories I ever heard was a Navy SEAL who, when they were leaving a town, they were maybe half a click outside the town, and he was bringing up the rear. And when he saw a little girl running out of the town gates and running towards him, he told her to stop. And it was a nice warm day, and she was wearing a big overcoat. And he kept screaming at her to stop, and she wouldn't stop. And he finally said, I had to drop down, and I'm looking at her through my optics, and I got my finger on the trigger, and I know what I have to do, because I know that if she's ignoring me, somebody told her to ignore my commands, because he's yelling at her in Arabic. She understands what he's saying, and she's not stopping. And as she's getting closer, he can feel the pressure on his finger. And he realizes he's about to do something that there's no coming back from. And right then, she stops. Right then. And he said, at that moment, I realized this shit's not what I thought it was going to be, man. Because and by the way, the other guys who worked with this SEAL said that this guy was just as gungy as they come, just tough as fucking nails. But looking down the barrel at a little girl running towards him, knowing what he was going to have to do, and then at the very last second, she stopped. He's been yelling for her to stop. She's ignoring him, and all of a sudden she does. It turns out she's not wired. Why is she running? Well, she wanted to go with them. She felt safer with them, so she wanted to go with them. So that's why she didn't stop. Whew. By the way, that guy's story gets even crazier, because he got out of the Navy and went back to Iraq. And he went back to Iraq because he believed in the mission, he believed in the cause, and he wanted to fight for the people who he believed were on the side of good. And man, I got to tell you, so there's one particular story that is I'll leave it to YouTube, but Mr. Ballin talks about it. If you look up Mr. Ballin, he was a SEAL also, great storyteller, and it's about one of his SEAL buddies. Well, not really a buddy, actually. He says the guy was kind of an asshole, but a great SEAL, So yeah, things like that. That's a tough one, man. And we're about to put our boys in harm's way again and have them making these decisions. And the question is it absolutely, unequivocally necessary? Is this absolutely necessary? I don't think so. Not based on what I've seen. Look, we're accusing their government of killing civilians, so we're going to go in and kill civilians until they're free. What? Then he, of course, he shot off a Truth Social thing about, hey, we're going to go in there and we're going to take the oil. And man, with all that oil, think about all that oil. It's like, it's not our fucking oil. That's not our oil. Venezuela, why'd we go in there? Well, because we're taking the oil. Wait, what? Yeah, we're taking the oil. That's what he said. But that's a sovereign nation. That's not our country. I mean, we invaded another country and we toppled their government so that we could take their natural resources that aren't ours. What? Is that true? Is that why he didn't put his hand on the Bible when he was sworn in? That's crazy. Who gives a fuck? Well, clearly you don't. Good for you. Must be nice to be a sociopath. Greenland, yeah, Greenland's a funny one too. And Cuba, I know. No, it's not true. No, we went in there to take out Maduro because he's got a cigar named after him and we didn't like it. You can't vote Democrat, but you can't vote Republican either. Oh, Chevron alone has $15 billion. That makes sense because clearly, if a company, a private company, goes in and invests money in another country, and then the other country, it doesn't work out after 40 years, then the United States government can use the Army and our special forces guys to go in and remove the elected president of that country and then take that oil for ourselves. You literally just said something that is so incredibly stupid that you made the point of every single person that's ever said that the United States is a scam. You literally just made the point for them. Well, we had a company that invested in that country and that country didn't live up to their expectations. So, yeah, we invaded. Chevron invaded? What? You literally just said Chevron got screwed, so we went in and took out their president. He wasn't elected. Well, neither was Biden, and neither was Trump. Come on, man. You believe all that shit, right? You believe everything you're told. Do you believe that the people in Venezuela are super excited that Maduro's gone? Do you really believe that? You believe that the people in Cuba are praying to God that we keep cutting them off from oil so that their incubators don't work and so that they can continue to have blackouts and not be able to travel? And their tourism industry, which they rely on super heavily for everything, that's gone because, well, you can't fuel jets with nothing. And they're just praying that we keep doing it. I mean, how gullible or stupid do you have to be to believe the propaganda? I mean, come on. Trump was elected. Well, yeah, that's your opinion. Kamala, no, you're right. Kamala Harris wasn't, I mean, what a joke. What a joke of a human being. What an absolute idiot. Trump fired off a Truth Social tweet or whatever you want to call it, message yesterday. And it was so vulgar and so stupid that as soon as I read it, I was like, oh man, that's not funny. If he actually sent something like that, that would be horrendous. Oh shit, that's actually something he did send. See, that's the problem. Oh, I just got my visibility restricted again for bullying. You can't bully the president, and you can't harass the president. Oh boy. Mandami used the Quran to swear in. Oh, trust me. That's nothing. Wait, you just wait. Just wait. It only gets worse from there. It gets worse from there. Oh, but it's it's a nation of people from all over the world, and it's just like it's like a bunch of flowers. You don't want all the same flowers. You want flowers of different colors. No, I don't. No, I don't. It's Christian nation founded by people from Europe. And if you're going to come here from any other part of the world, cool. These are our traditions. This is the way our society works. Fit in or fuck off. Done. Hey, so easy. Fit in or get out. I'm not changing. Play the prayer, call the prayer at 5 a.m. and see what I do to your loudspeaker. Oh, I'm sorry, you're protected. That's right. I'm not protected. You're protected because you're the 1/10 of 1% who gets to be a loudmouth and tell me how to live. Wow, this is so fun. The Republicans who voted for this war have never opened and actually read a Bible. Trump was smart. When he was sworn in, he didn't put his hand anywhere near that Bible. Everybody puts their hand up, puts their hand on the Bible. Not Trump. He put his hand down at his side and let his wife just hold the Bible. If you don't believe me, go look at the pictures. He didn't touch that thing. He's not stupid. He does believe. Oh, no, he believes. If he didn't believe, it wouldn't matter if he put his hand on the Bible, would it? It's a fucking stupid book. Just put your hand on it. What does it matter? Make all those nimrods that think that, Jesus is real, make all those simpleton dipshits love you. But he didn't do that. Look, just put your hand on it. It doesn't mean anything, right? It's a bunch of ancient babble. There's no Jesus. That's not how you would act. If you didn't believe in that, if you thought it was just all hocus pocus magic, yeah, you put your hand on it. So what? What does it matter? You make all those Christians out there who voted for you feel all warm and fuzzy in their little jellies. Oh, good for you. He wouldn't touch it. That makes me think something totally different. But the good news about New York is Mom Dami is just absolutely the perfect guy to destroy New York. He's going to do more to New York than Godzilla could. And that's fantastic. No Matthew Broderick movie, just no Godzilla, just Mondami. He's just going to go in there and screw things up so bad. Well, it's funny that you say that because, man, dummy, it's because I literally am finished with the book. We can now officially, I think tomorrow morning, start taking pre-orders for the book about how to survive what's about to happen. Keep in mind, the Iranians have shown that their hacking is first rate. Like, they're good. They've hacked all kinds of systems around the United States that nobody's talking about, like our healthcare system. And they've done all kinds of damage, and nobody knows exactly what yet. At the same time, the Chinese are hacking in. Now, what happens if we knock out their civilian power? So far, every time we've escalated, they've escalated. We've escalated, they've met us. What happens if we go in and knock out their civilian power? What do you think they might be able to do to us? Has anybody thought about this yet? I'm not saying that they're going to knock out the grid, but could they knock out the grid? Absolutely. There are fucking 15-year-olds in the United States who can knock out the grid. They literally have proven it. They had a kid in high school come in, hack a SCADA system, and destroy a generator that was literally supposed to be in a hydroelectric plant. And it wasn't. It was a model set up. And they literally said, "Can you hack that?" And he said, "Yeah, watch this." And he set the goddamn thing on fire. It literally ate itself. It's a kid in high school. Hacked a hydroelectric generator. Thank God it wasn't in a dam, but it could have been. I'm telling you right now, you better get ready. This is something that I'm going to talk to the people who made it. I'm going to talk to these folks because this was extraordinarily expensive. I forget, I think it was like $50 for this. But to be honest with you, the old ways, it shows how to take things like milkweed out in your front yard. Everybody's got milkweed. I mean, we pull that shit all the time, right? Milkweed is actually almost as strong as some types of opioids when it comes to pain killing. You put it directly on the wound. It's like shit like this. It's stuff we don't know anymore. But trust me, if the grid goes down, depending on why it goes down, if it's an electromagnetic pulse, and that's why, we are at least 50 years away from restoring it. And when I say that, people go, all right, nah, bullshit, we'll have it up in a couple of years. Okay, first of all, the Department of Defense, which is now the DOW, the Dow, now that it's a Department of War, they did a study on this, and they said beyond any, like, there's no question about this. Over 90% of the population of this country will be dead in the first 12 months. Period. In the first 12 months after the grid goes down, over 90% of the civilian population of this country will be dead. Sorry if that hurts your feelings. Sorry if that gives you bad dreams at night. But I'd rather give you a few nightmares than watch you die of starvation. Or more importantly, have you watch your kids die of starvation. Because that's a hell of a lot worse than dying yourself. Seeing your kids in pain is a lot worse than being in pain yourself. Anybody who's ever had to take a kid to the doctor with a broken arm or something knows that. It's way worse. Here's my point. If you're not ready for what we're getting ourselves into, how about a country who invested in their land to rescue them and then the communists move in? Okay. You mean like the communists from Canada? I mean, you got to remember China's still on the other side of the ocean. And by the way, if we had a grid down situation, I can tell you right now, the rest of the world is going to be absolute chaos. Absolute chaos. Because what's the one thing that China needs more than anything else? Resources. It's got over 1 billion people. Okay. It's next to a country that covers 8 time zones and only has 275 million people, called Russia. They've been looking at all of Siberia and going, damn, you got all that oil that we don't have? You got all that shit that we need, all those minerals, all that water. We're in a drought. Man, sure would be nice if we could just take that away from you. And don't think for a second the Russians don't know that. The Russians and the Chinese do not get along, and for good reason. The last time they went to war, back in the 60s, it wasn't a declared war. It was just a skirmish. And the Chinese kicked the crap out of the Russians. And that's when we said, hey, Russia, never mind, hold that thought. Hey, China, literally that skirmish over an island in Siberia or near Siberia, that skirmish is the reason that we didn't have any peace negotiations in the late 60s with Russia. And that's why by 1972, we'd opened up relations with China, because we realized we're not negotiating with the strongest guys here. These guys over here, well, they really whooped Russia's ass just now. Okay, you know what? Let's negotiate with them. This was a Kissinger move. So, God loves me. God loves everybody. Nobody will be safe anywhere. That's exactly right. So they'll have their own issues. I don't see the Chinese coming across the Pacific Ocean to take over the United States, when going after Siberia, which is literally connected to them, would be much easier. And would it be more of a fight? Absolutely. Would it be worth it? Yeah, of course. Because once you win, you don't have to ship shit across the ocean. So could I see a situation where maybe somebody goes after Alaska? Yeah, potentially. But the point is that when we're done, when whoever's left in the United States, if the grid goes down coast to coast, it's, there's going to be 30 million instead of 330 million. There'll literally be 33 million people left. So, yeah, exactly. So, yeah, bottom line is it's either be prepared for this, or the worst case scenario is the most likely scenario now. And did I believe that 6 months ago? No, I wasn't writing a book 6 months ago. Was I talking to people about, you might want to have access to fresh water, you might want to have this or that, or yeah, of course, just because, don't be stupid. Well, billionaires aren't just buying farms, they're also buying underground bunkers to live in. What does that tell you? Why is it that every super, super wealthy billionaire, like look at what's his name from Amazon? He literally owns an entire mountain in New Mexico that has been completely hollowed out. It's over 1 million square feet of open space inside. Now, if you ask them, why did you hollow out a whole fucking mountain? Like, what do you need 1 million square feet for? Think about how many super Walmarts that is. A super Walmart is about 43,560 square feet, about an acre. So 1 million square feet, I mean, you're talking about, what is that? It's over 200 acres indoors under a mountain. Holy shit. You can have an entire city there. So why? Well, according to Fontainebleau, or whatever that shit's called, his toy, it's to do rocket testing. Right. You're right. Rocket testing. Yeah, sure. Yeah, Zuckerberg's got one in Hawaii, which I think is hilarious. Like, what a dumbass. I would not want to be in the middle of the Pacific Ocean when the shit hits the fan. Yeah, there are 1 billion deer hunters. That's absolutely true. Well, I mean, not 1 billion, but they're, probably 1% of the population, because 3% of the population of this country right now has something to do with agriculture for a living. 150 years ago, it was 95% of the population was directly involved in agriculture in some way or another. Now, some of those people might have been commodity brokers, but they were in the commodities business. They were doing something with agriculture. Now it's 3%. The other 97% of us have absolutely no fucking clue about agriculture. Got chickens? No. Well, why don't you have chickens, for Christ's sakes? Everybody's bitching about, the eggs are so expensive. Did you know that if you had just bought some chicks during that time last year when eggs were so expensive, they'd be making eggs for you right now. Eggs free. Here, I'm a chicken. Here's an egg. Come back tomorrow. Why? Well, because I'll give you another egg. What? Yeah, I'll give you another egg. Wait, but what if I had 12? Well, you have a dozen eggs every day. So if I had a family of 4, yeah, that's 3 eggs every day. Wow. Well, that's a good amount of protein. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Now, if you live in the Sonoran Desert, of course, there's also the benefit that they love to eat scorpions. Oh, well, that's nice. Do they eat black widows? Yup. Oh, really? Yup. Well, beef's a pain in the ass because, do I believe in UFOs? Oh, absolutely. I've seen them. Well, not them. Well, I mean, I've seen a couple of things that were really odd. A couple of things that were just, you go, whoa, that's weird. Wish I knew what that was. But twice in my life, I've seen things that I absolutely couldn't explain, even after thinking about them for days or even months. It's like, nope, it just doesn't make sense. And so, somebody who's as much into aerospace as I am, I wanted to be an astronaut when I grew up. I just didn't realize I was going to be 6'7" and weigh over 300 pounds. It's just not ever going to happen unless they come up with a whole different propulsion system, and unfortunately my son, who just turned 13 and is now 5'10" and 185 pounds, He told me the other day he wants to be an astronaut. I just didn't have the heart to tell him. So I wasn't talking about eating. Wait, what the hell were you talking about? Let's see. Okay, I have no idea what you were talking about. How about the cost of feeding? That's the thing I've seen online. I've seen lots and lots and lots of people who talked about how they mix their feed with this or that or the other thing, and it's like it brings down the cost so that it's actually very affordable to have a couple chickens. Look, do you have a dog? Because if you can afford a dog, you can definitely afford a chicken. And dogs don't do anything except like love on you and poop. Now, get it? I get it. I have two huge dogs, but that's also because I have PTSD and I can't sleep unless there's a dog with me. So, and not just any dog. I mean, poodles, they're so cute, especially the friendly ones. But it's not going to cut it for me. Chickens eat bugs in the yard. It's true. So you really think me? Is that what that says? So you really think we? Oh, you really think we? Deer hunters part of invasion. Yeah, boy, I got to tell you, those fucking rednecks up in Montana, I've never trusted those guys. North Dakota, look, don't bullshit me, bro. Why you live here? Oh, you're in the potato farming. No, I'm not buying it. You're part of the Chinese horde. So anyway, all right, guys, I'm going to call it a night. Hour and a half is good for me. Buy silver and buy my book. And if you don't know how to buy silver or buy my book, my number is up there where my channel is. You go right there. I think you hit that thing and it takes you to my channel. And my number is right there. Oh, God, the White House accidentally releases. It doesn't say the rest, but that was just a little banner on my phone. In Ireland, we have animals that provide. Yeah, of course. It's called common sense, man. And in Ireland, they also have redheaded girls with when every time they open their mouth, they sound like angels. I just hear angels singing. And they have red hair and green eyes or blue eyes. Fuck it, I can survive in Ireland. Why am I not in Ireland? What am I doing here? Not that I have a preference to redheaded girls. Redheads. Proof that God loves us. Anyway, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Let me see if I can shut off the live stream this time. Oh, look at that. This time it'll let me end it. All right, you guys. See you tomorrow. Unbelievable. This time it let me end the live stream. Last time when I said I wanted to end it, it was like, you ain't ending shit, pal. All right, we've covered all kinds of stuff tonight, and I am happy. It's a good live stream. I'll see you guys tomorrow night, all three of you.